So welcome everybody. Today we have a fantastic teacher, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about metaphors and how they can help us to increase our level. The fabulous Faves is here in the house. Fabian, what's up?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be again in your company, the best company in the world. Thank you very much for inviting me over. So yeah, like you said it, we're going to be talking about metaphor, which to some people is nothing but just a, like decoration, adornment that is put on top of language to make it sound better, rhythmic, poetic, memorable, legendary. You say it, you just name it. But in reality, what metaphor is the most primitive definer of meaning to people,
Okay.
especially when it comes to concepts, which is the intangible world of things that are not, three-dimensional.
Okay.
Let's talk, for example, about time. What do people wish you when you sneeze in Colombia? They wish you for health,
Yeah. Love.
money,
Money and love. Yeah, that's the
and
order.
love. That's it, right? That's a perfect trifecta.
I think it's not only in Colombia. I think it's all over Latin America. When you sneeze, people say health, and obviously in Spanish, then they say love. And if you sneeze again, then you're cold, but they will let you know.
I don't know, after COVID-19, they might
Yeah.
just give you the stink eye and tell you, can you please get the hell out of here with your germs?
Probably.
But the idea is, the basic element here that I want to bring in is the fact that those concepts are important, yet they don't belong to the three-dimensional world, right? So then how do we define something that we don't see? It starts, let's go all the way back to, the first people that had to think this over. And then there's the metaphor, because otherwise it's a concept that is so elusive, nobody can see it, therefore it doesn't exist. So how do we make it visible? We use metaphor, and metaphor is basically calling something by something else that we can touch, that we can carry around. Like in the case of money, which is a concept, by the way.
Mhm.
Okay, money is not the paper in front of us, as is obvious now with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So as a concept, we fittingly decided that money for us, for our culture, Latin people, money is gold.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, el tiempo es oro, right? We say it. Therefore, drawing an equation, a mental equation, that if we have more money, we have more gold, something that is tangible, right? So if we understand money as being gold, a mineral, then we can attach the same properties as to gold. I mean, we can imagine that the same properties that apply to gold are going to, or can be applied to money. Yeah? And that's what metaphor is. The metaphor in language is a primordial definer of the meaning, especially of concepts that we would normally, and without the use of metaphor, really not have access to it, or not be able to get our minds around it.
All right.
Okay?
You've been a teacher for, well, a long time now, and when someone is doing a very good job when they understand jokes or understand metaphor. Would you say that? I mean, in the whole idea is how to become, or how to go from B2 level to C1 and C2 level.
Yeah.
And probably one of the things that you're gonna say is like, if you want to be a C2 or C1 or C2 level, you need to understand this thing. Would you say that?
Yeah, of course. And obviously, the speech that comes natural to people that have spoken the language for all of their lives, what we know as the concept of the native speaker, this person is going to use language that is generated via metaphors, and its presence is in the form of the idiomatic expressions. That's the package. That's the basic package that metaphor takes forming to language, So, and as we know, we struggle to get our minds around idioms, because they don't look like, sometimes, and they have a tendency not to look like anything that we know in our language. Okay, So let's say, for example, if somebody says, man, I didn't have time to do it, and finally I got around to doing it at the 11th hour. The 11th hour. And then
The
you're like,
11th hour. All right. Okay.
the
That's a
hell
new
is
one.
that? What is the, at 11?
Yeah.
Yes. But in a metaphoric sense, it means at the last minute for us, a última hora. And you can, if you have access to the metaphor, you know, then you're like, oh, I got it. In Spanish, we say a última hora. In English, you say the 11th hour, which happens to be the last hour on the clock, right?
Sure.
And then you're like, okay, now essentially it makes sense. When this moment of, okay, now I can, you know, like make sense of my language and that language together via metaphor, then things become more easily remembered, I guess.
But you know what? For example, just sent that. I mean, the sentence you just gave us, the 11th hour, even though it's an idiom or a metaphor,
Yeah.
it's quite understandable. But before we started recording, we were talking about your wife and what she does, and you told me, and I asked, what does she do? And you say, well, she's a jack of all trades. And that's something that a normal person or B1 person or B2, just sort of speak, they would never understand that unless they know the origin or the sentence itself.
Exactly. And
So
it's something that
that's the problem. That's the problem, to get to that native speaker
exactly the
level.
problem
we
is
all
one of
want.
experience. You need to experience the language and experience it in their terms. What am I talking about? I'm saying that the recurrent feeling or sentiment of the basic student, intermediate, and even advanced student is, I got my comfort. I don't say it that way. Okay? I prefer to say it this way, which is makes sense to me. Or by tradition is what I learned in the first couple of lessons, so I always use it. People usually go to the store, they go to the gym, they go to the supermarket. God forbid, a gringo says to them, where are you heading now? You heading to the supermarket? Are you heading to the gym? And they're like, oh, heading? What is that? Yeah? Well, it's the same. I mean, like if you take it within the context, it would make sense. But the moment that you experience this kind of, okay, that's out of my comfort, is typical of students where they immediately draw themselves into their own impractical thinking. It's like they have grupo primario and they start having questions like, did you understand what you say? No, I don't know. What head? I understand head is part of the body, but what is that? And you start just like, it's an
like
artistic
this?
form
Like
of
you
you.
walking like
Exactly.
this?
Exactly. It's an artistic form of you just losing connection. This is what happens. You go like you're connecting to the internet back 20 years ago. You know, you go like, oh, what is that? Just because they didn't use your comfort word, which is go. Oh, yes, it's comfort to me, so I always use it. But I think that what we need to, the idea with this conversation that we have in Alejo is to teach our students that comfort needs to be placed at their feet, not ours. That's the service. And maybe when people think about, okay, I need to become more fluent, what does that mean? That means put the comfort at their feet. So start preparing for that, because that's called empathy. If I speak their language, and by the way, it's their language, it's not our language, it's their language, then the least that I can do is try to speak like them. And some people are going to say, oh, hold on a second, yeah, but they're gringos. You don't need to be gringo and lose your identity. I think there's a whole different religious experience if you think it that way. I think it in more practical terms. Take your comfort away from you. Be a Latin person. We're very good at service, providing service. Just bring comfort to them. Say, I'm heading to the supermarket, honey. What do you want me to bring? Milk?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
That's great.
That's the trick.
And that's very logical, because we are trying to speak like them. And yeah, of course, at the beginning we know the verb go and stuff like that, but we really need to know, or at least try to sound like them. But my question is, let's say this podcast, video podcast, is being heard by someone that is already finished a course, and these kind of things are not taught in a course, not all the time. So the person says, okay, I understand what this guy is saying. What should I do? I mean, what should I do to start knowing those things? Because those are not the ones that come in the book. I mean, I don't know how to get that metaphor. I don't know how to say, I didn't know the heading was actually going to a place. So if I don't have the time, the money, or my life is not a place that I'm gonna go to New York for 2 years, or I'm not gonna go to Sydney for 6 months, what should I do? How do I start?
Isn't that the damnedest question, man?
I know,
Right?
I know, and I know you can answer
And
it.
it's got the easiest answer of all
Oh,
possible
really?
times
Okay.
right now.
I'm glad. I'm happy. All right.
I cannot share my screen here, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. Well, so in the past, you would go, hey, Fabian, that book that you told me about, Metaphors to Live By, do you still have it? Because I want to take a look at it.
Yeah.
Right?
George
It was a
Lakoff,
time of,
Mark
it was a
Johnson.
time of, yeah, exactly. It was a time of scarcity back in the day. He's like, oh, okay, no, I don't have it anymore. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Well, now we have ChatGPT. So let's just for a moment imagine that ChatGPT could be your private university. Okay? You just tell ChatGPT, teach me about metaphor. Teach me about metaphors in language that can be considered an essential tool for me to learn new idiomatic expressions in a way that I can connect to my way of seeing the world. Okay? Because that's what metaphor is going to accomplish if you start to, process it. Let's say you need more meaningful learning. Sure. You need to organize your vocabulary. Absolutely. You need to have a certain level of reflection and awareness of how language works. Absolutely. You need to have that cross-linguistic awareness of the way that I understand language in Spanish and the way I should understand it in English. Perfect. I agree. I need to have that conceptual organization that metaphor brings. Yes, that's where you're getting close to it. And authentic insights. Mwah! That's it. Authentic insights. You arrived at the land of plenty called metaphors. Let ChatGPT teach you. Okay, so I tell ChatGPT, all right, Chat, I'm interested in money and health, love and money. Let's go over that. So I ask Chat, I give this prompt to Chat. Okay, what's a proper metaphor? And this is just a prompt. What's a proper metaphor for the concept of time? Okay? And give me illustrative examples for it.
All right.
Okay? What's a proper metaphor for the concept of time? And give me illustrative examples for it. Okay, cool. And then Chat says, listen, a common metaphor for the concept of time is money. And here, there's an essential element. I love this because time for us, Latin people, is gold, something tangible. Guess what? Time in America, in the States, is money, which is another concept. It's a concept takes me to concept. We're still living in a surreal world. And that's what people experience when they move to the States. They go to the States, it's like, here, you live to work.
Exactly.
Colombia,
It's work, money.
Exactly. And it's because of that construct of how people think around metaphors. And it's very deeply ingrained in the way that people behave, making up a culture. That's why Latin people and American people, we can be in the same place peacefully, but we are not the same kind of species, right? Yeah. Anyway, going back to the answer by ChatGPT, it gave me, okay, fittingly, time is money, not gold. Notice that. This metaphor equates time with money, emphasizing its value and the importance of using it wisely, right? As you would with money. That's the cool thing about metaphor, that then you start thinking in terms of the other thing, the more tangible thing, like bills, could be money. It reflects the idea that time, like money, is a finite, not infinite, finite resource that can be spent, saved, invested, just like time. And guess what? Those are part of the construct of how people talk in English, which can be not easily identified at first by us coming from Spanish. When people say like, okay, I don't have any more time because we already spent 2 hours here. And then you hear crickets in the minds of, like elementary students, because I spent 2 hours. Gastados. Okay, there's yes, yes,
All right.
yes, sure. Like use the 2 hours, yeah. Spend. How about save time? We need to save time. Let's do this differently. You're wasting your time. Yeah? Or you need to better invest your time. Or how about time is running out?
Oh yeah.
And the elementary student would be looking at the door.
Like, yeah,
clock door,
what is he
door.
running? Can I catch
Where's he
it?
going to? Where's he heading to? Okay, yes. So time is running out is as anything that is finite is coming to an end. Don't have more time for this. And time is precious, by the way, as money
Alright.
is.
Sure.
So now the interesting thing is that time inherits or gets all of the properties that we attach to money. Now, if you think about time is money and you know what the vocabulary of the money is, then you know the vocabulary of time. In other words, the essential interest of my own in metaphor is that it allows me or it gives me a tool to give to my students so they can better organize the concepts that could be not fixed in their memory at first because they don't necessarily sound or look like they would in Spanish. So that unexpected factor would be eliminated the moment that they understand, okay, time, money, pretty much the same thing. And then you can start to explore things like you can earn time. You can earn time. Yes, you can earn time. And you can budget it. And you can acquire time debt with people. And you can bank time. Like I like to bank some time for my upcoming holidays because I need longer vacations. So I'm gonna put in more hours here at work, banking time. Wow. So time as currency. Time makes you rich too. You know, like rich in time. I'm rich in time. Maybe you're rich in money. I know you are because you're Mr. Personality and I'm so ugly. So I'm rich in time. Okay. So time can be capital, can be a commodity. You can squander time. And the list goes on and on and on. And then we go into idiomatic expressions, which is where it pinches for our students' shoes, right? That's where the shoe pinches for students, okay? So let's see, time. I have a couple of ideas here for time. Health, time. Let me see.
But you know what? You look for that. I love talking to you because we always learn something new. And, sometimes I've had this question asked. Students say, Alejo, why do they say, I'm going to give up smoking? Can't just they say, I'm going to quit smoking? Is it easy? I mean, it's easier for everyone. Everyone will understand. But now you gave me the best answer. It's not our comfort zone.
Exactly.
It's theirs.
Still it. Like,
they love to say, I'm gonna give up smoking. It's their choice, and we just need to adapt to that. Obviously, for us, it's better to hear, I'm gonna quit smoking, or I'm gonna leave.
Because it's one word. We don't have phrasal words. We don't have phrasal verbs in Spanish. That's the reason. But guess what? And this is the damnedest thing too, that students experience this, which they categorize as unfair. Life is not fair. When they start seeing phrasal verbs in course 5 or 7 somewhere, they're like, oh, I hate this because it used to be just clean. I want to clean my bedroom, but now it's clean up. So it's like more clean more. It's got to be better. It's not that. That's not the concept, honey. It's not clean up is more than clean. It couldn't be less of that, stupid conception that some people think that clean up is clean thoroughly versus clean, which is clean haphazardly. No. The idea with clean up is what is the word that I'm looking for? Is mellifluous. Okay, looking for stupid words. It's got a cadence. It's got a rhythmic feel to it that Americans crave.
Exactly.
Americans don't feel complete if they just say clean that. They feel better when they say clean up. So why they up is just the extra beat. It's okay. That's it. It's like,
I don't remember if you love superhero movies or not. I think we have never talked about it, but there's this movie, very popular one called The Avengers. And there's a part in the Avengers when Captain America is reunited with all the other superheroes, and everybody says like, "Okay, Cap, so what do we do?" And he said, "Okay, listen up." And I remember talking to this student, and he says, "I don't get it. Can't he just say, listen?"
Exactly. Isn't that unfair?
Well, he needs closer attention to what he's going to say. That's why he says, "Listen
and
up."
here, I bring up the concept. I bring in the concept of closure. People need to get closure with this. Let's say this noisy conversation. Like, oh no, I don't want to say listen up because listen is just enough. Yeah. Well, once again, let's talk about bringing to the at their feet comfort. So talk like them, and to them saying listen up is final. It's not listen better than just listen. It's just the way that they feel in comfort, because everybody talks that way. Obviously, we don't have phrasal verbs in Spanish, and that's the whole conflictive idea or ideas. But get closure by thinking, that's the way they think, let's go that way. Because the same thing is going to happen to them when they come here and they hear us say, hágale pues, coma pues. And they're like, but why do you have to say pues at the end? Because it makes me home. It makes me feel like I'm at home.
That's the
way we talk.
Exactly.
That's the way my mom used to talk. That's the way I talk. I guess they used to hear their mom saying, listen up, kids, all the time. So it gets tattooed on your brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, teacher, as always, thank you very much for these minutes. It's been great. And I think it's very, very clear that we really need to go into this in order to get that C1 and C2 level. You guys have been seeing his Instagram around, but just in case, you also teach classes, you have your own courses. How can people get to it?
Oh, well, so I guess I'm going to be having like an open house next month in December and January too, to invite people to just take a flash course on I guess that now using ChatGPT and other AI tools to teach yourself and what to actually do in the classroom with me, for example. All right, so there's going to be the announcement on my social networks. I'm on Instagram as Fabulous Fabes, Facebook too, Fabulous Fabes, and
TikTok. I've been learning a lot from your TikTok, man.
Like my
I can go to Brooklyn now and have a placid conversation with people.
Yeah. So my TikTok is more about the ugly side. Once again, like there's an agenda right there, and my agenda is feel the language. And obviously we get the peaks of feel when we're angry or scared or disappointed, and then we use strong language. So I want to equate the strong language we use in Spanish to feel authentically under stress, and the English, and so you can make sense of how things happen.
All right.
And okay, on leaving. Okay, so yeah, there's the flash course. And January we start new courses, and they're affordable, they're wonderful, and then I concentrate on getting people to speak using ChatGPT and other AI tools and improvisation. And because every minute counts.
That's good.
As you count money, every minute counts. So that's the metaphor of time is money that I was looking for.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, let's have another conversation anytime you want.
Okay.
And
thank you very much, man.
Yeah. So, do we kiss? No, right? No.
No. We don't.